welcome to Freshly Served, the healthy vegan cooking show. I'm Heather, and tonight we are going to make some quinoa stuffed chard rolls, which I started out thinking of what I could do with these beautifully massive leaves that Phil and I got from our garden, which are not actually chard. If you're wondering why the stem isn't red like a chard, this is actually silver beet. It's a relative of chard. All of the beet family are relatives. That's why if you see beets that have the greens still attached in the store, they look remarkably similar to chard because they're the same family. So what we're going to do is take those leaves. We're going to make a delicious stuffing with quinoa and a bunch of vegetables and some tamari and all that nice stuff. And we're going to stuff those chard leaves, or silver beet leaves in my case, and then we're going to bake them, which I find these leaves are a lot easier to work with than cabbage. Cabbage you have to blanch first, and it's really difficult to peel it off without breaking it, I find. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do today. And what I've got to start is I've got my quinoa. It looks like it's about done back here. Yep. So quinoa, again, is 2 cups water to 1 cup quinoa. And you want a little bit of salt in the water to help the cooking process. You turn it up to high, get it boiling, and then turn it down to simmer and let it simmer for about half an hour. And then your quinoa should be nice and light and fluffy. If it's sticky, you may have put in too much water, or it may just need to cook a little bit longer. So there's that. And then what we're gonna do is get our sauce going. And I just want a little bit of flavor for this stuff in the center because it's basically gonna be all vegetables with some quinoa. So what I'm gonna do to start is put some tamari in here. And this is gonna be a bowl big enough for my quinoa and for my vegetables so that I don't have to use 2 bowls. Tamari is like soy sauce. It's just, the kind I get is a naturally fermented tamari, as opposed to soy sauce, which isn't always fermented when you buy it in the store. The reason that's important is that fermenting breaks down the part of the soy that is indigestible, so it makes it a lot easier on your system. Okay, this is some untoasted sesame oil, and I like to use this when I'm using the toasted variety of the sesame oil, and the toasted, you can see, is a lot darker than the untoasted. I like to combine these two together because they're from the same seed. But if you don't have untoasted sesame oil, you can just use olive oil or whatever other oil with little flavor that you have. Okay, so those 3 are in the bowl, and then comes the fun part where we're going to grate some ginger. And I'm going to cut a nice big chunk of ginger, and then I'll get my ginger grater out, which is a little bit different from a regular grater. It does not have holes going through it. It just has some teeth on the front. So what happens is when I grate the ginger, it doesn't fall through, and it just makes kind of like a ginger mush. So this is where the magic happens. We're gonna get, oh, I lost some. Gonna get all the ginger together, all of this pulp that we've just grated. I was gonna say grated to a pulp, but that was kind of insinuated in the pulp. Okay, so you get it all together in a ball like so, and when I squeeze it, watch what's gonna happen. Oh yeah! That is the juice of the ginger. The younger ginger you can find, the more juice is gonna come out. And that juice has delicious ginger flavor without so much of that bite that you get from the whole ginger. And that's gonna go right in with our tamari and our 2 oils. Some nice flavors going on in this bowl. What we're gonna add to it are our vegetables. So I've got carrots, zucchini, and broccoli. Just get these chopped up as finely as you can. With the carrots and the zucchini, I'm gonna grate them, even though I hate grating. A lot of grating today with the ginger and the vegetables, but it makes it very nice and small pieces, soft to chew, really nice. And then the broccoli, I'm just gonna chop up as finely as I can. And green onion, or I'm actually using some chard today. I mean, some chives. I was thinking about wrapping, that we actually got from the garden the other day, and this little flower is about to bloom. And some parsley. So chop those up as finely as you can. Throw them in the bowl. Check out that bowl of vegetables. That looks delicious. Now I'm mixing the vegetables together into that bit of sauce that we made at the bottom here. I mix the vegetables in with the flavoring first before adding the quinoa, because the quinoa is just gonna suck that flavor right up. So better to get it around the vegetables first, because they don't suck it up as much. And then add the quinoa, and the vegetables can get the dressing around the quinoa. No need to add salt here because we've got the tamari, or the soy sauce, which does have quite a bit of salt in it already. And there's the quinoa, for those of you who haven't seen it before. It's a very small grain. It's really beautiful when it cooks because it gets this little spiral as the grain opens up. If you don't have quinoa, or you can't find quinoa, you can just use rice or whatever other type of grain you like. Get that stirred around in here, that inner stem, so that it looks like that. And then it's gonna wrap up really nice and easily. Now you can blanch these as well if you really want to. Blanching is where you get boiling hot water, you drop the leaf in for about 10 seconds, and then you take it out and put it in some ice water. I don't often do that just because I can't be bothered. It will make the leaf quite a bit softer so that it'll roll easier, but this is the reason that I'm using silver beet or chard, is it rolls really nicely without having to blanch it. So what you want to do, fold in the ends, and this one has these nice big sides, and then make sure nothing falls out. Just squeeze it in like that. Roll it over. Oh, mine burst. That's okay. No shame in that. And then what you're gonna do is put this in an oven-proof dish that has a lid. And mine's actually a round one, which isn't the best, but work with what you got. And I'm gonna stack mine, I think. So again. All right, let's see if we can make a neater one this time. So fold in the ends. Maybe a little bit more cautious with this guy. And make it into a nice little packet. Now usually when stuff bursts, like my first one, it's because I've put too much filling in. I get a little bit overexcited about having so much yumminess inside these leaves that I stuff them too full. Let's see if we can get this one to stay together. Now when it bakes, it'll be a lot softer, or if you've blanched it. So there we go. Round is not the best shape for these guys, but because it's the only baking dish I have that has a lid, that's what I'm gonna use. The reason I need to put a lid on is because otherwise the leaves will dry out, okay? And I'm not putting any kind of sauce over the leaves because the juices from the vegetables inside the leaves are gonna create quite a bit of juice. Now, I'm actually not baking this right now because I'm gonna take it over to a friend's and bake it there, but when you put it in the oven, it's gonna go in anywhere between 300, 350, not too high, and somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, and you should have a nice, soft, chard roll. I hope you enjoy it. You can find the recipe at healthyveganrecipes.net. I'm Heather, and this is Freshly Served.